with discuss and consider the offer to purchase option of property located at 312 West Cottage Grove Road.
And John, I'll just lay out the motion as I explained in closed session what they would be like, and if someone wants to make that motion, they're welcome to do it.
Okay.
So first on that issue, the motion would be to prepare and execute an option to purchase the property at a price of $1.4 million, with the village paying its own brokerage fees, with a phase one initial term cost of $20,000, extending between whenever we get it done later this week, hopefully, and January 26th, and a second phase of another $20,000 if we should choose to extend, extending from the 27th through April 26th, which is when the decision would have to be made, closing to be on or before May 15th of 2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second then. All those in favor?
Well, let's have discussion. I want to make a public
sorry.
comment. Right?
Sorry, Pete.
Yeah, so just for the record, and in closed session, I stated the same thing. I think in light of the prior referendum had 2/3 no vote, and the fact we had a village survey that had a 77% would not support the cost of operating this library based on the initial assumptions. I guess I feel certainly it's not fiscally or financially responsible to be spending and committing dollars until we get a reversal, a quantitative reversal through a referendum. And so again, we're committing money here before the referendum, and I understand there are certain things that are causing us to do this, but there is an element of fiscal irresponsibility that I don't want the village to end up like the school board is right now. So it is what it is.
Any other discussion?
Yes, I would like to join in that opinion. At the very least, it ought to be put to another.
No.
I'm sorry. All right, it's only the board that's covering right now. It's not a public portion of the meeting, sorry. We have a motion and second. Any other discussion again? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody abstain? Motion carries. Next up, we have discussed and consider a contract with our architect for the site feasibility due diligence efforts related to potential library at 312 West Cottage Grove Road.
And for this one, it could just be a motion to approve that contract.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second. Any other discussion?
Again, for the record, I believe this is a nice to have, not a have to have. The prior vote that was taken to secure this property so that we can get through it certainly needs to happen. But again, for the purposes of what I said before, it stands on this item as well.
All right. Any other discussion? All right, having all those in favor then?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next then up is discuss and consider contract with Miller Communication regarding the services related to potential library referendum.
The motion here would just be authorize execution of a contract consistent with the proposal that's in the, that was received by the board, the updated proposal that has the 2 phases, allows us to, well, I'm not going to tell you what it allows it to do because I'm just telling you the motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second then. Any other discussion?
I'm going to chime in on this one. I think the amount of money we're spending on communicating the facts, $44,000 or $47,000 is excessive, and I think it's, again, one of these things that is premature until we get through the assessment of the structural integrity of the building. So again, this is completely fiscally irresponsible to be spending this amount of unbudgeted taxpayer money in light of the 2 previous quantitative pieces of input that we've got prior, the referendum and the village survey, that basically do not support us spending this level of money without reversal of those quantitative pieces of input.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just want to chime in that I think it's $11,000 or so for the first phase, which is the phase in which we will understand if this building is even one that is feasible to be a library. So all of these contracts are set up in a way that there's a phase one and a phase two. Phase one will tell us, and structurally, can this building be a building? It will set us up for communication, and it'll set us up for the next motion being fundraising. But if the building isn't set up to be a library, the phase two in all of these contracts wouldn't happen. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear, and that the amount of phase one for the communication group, I believe, was $11,000 that we'd be spending in phase one.
And I just want to add too about the quantitative data. I think that's, you know, people can go back into the survey from 2024, which is what you're referring to,
Yes.
and look at the data in support of the library and all the comments that we have that support the library, and the 115 emails that have come in support of the library. And I think that this is also demonstrating a little bit of, you know, a lot of fiscal responsibility and the ability for this board and the community to pivot to a different solution to providing library services in Cottage Grove. And this is obviously a much reduced scale of what a library is going to look like compared to the, you know, the last conversations we've had over the last 3, 4, 5 years, 20 years.
And again, referring to the 2024 survey, 77% of those that responded would not support spending more than $200 a year on their average tax bill. And that's where, you know, again, we don't have the numbers yet, but all indications are it's going to be more than $200 a year on the average tax bill, which would indicate that we do not have that level of support. When you say that level of support, that was for no incremental cost was 48%.
There are a million things wrong with that survey. It's not worth hashing that out at this time.
I understand that, but I'm saying is we don't have any quantitative input
51%
justifying
said that
us
they'd
spending
support.
$150,000 of taxpayer money.
51% support some money going towards a library. And this is why we're doing due diligence and working towards investigating this as a possible solution.
We're spending $150,000 moving forward with these 4 independent pieces of the puzzle. So,
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anybody opposed? Aye.
aye.
You abstain? Motion carries. Next, then, we have discuss and consider contract with the Sweeney Group regarding campaign planning for implementation regarding fundraising for a potential library.
The motion here would be approval and execution of a contract with the Sweeney Group for capital campaign services at a cost of $4,000 per month for 6 months. Again, we don't have an actual formal contract. We need to do some work on that, but plus expenses, I'm sorry. And so the motion would be to approve that dollar amount with the understanding that there's a opportunity for the village to terminate that work along the way if you decided to do so based on the other due diligence.
Moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, then. Any other discussion?
You know, consistent with what you said before, Sarah, I think it's prudent that we've got this broken into phases. But as I said in closed session, this particular item is clearly a nice to have. And I think that as I said in closed session, that the Friends should be managing this piece of the fundraising, not the village. But again, we don't need to do this now in light of we don't have feasibility of the building, right? So this is a cart in front of the horse. We're spending money that is premature in the big picture. So, I mean, in my opinion, this is something that can wait until that's complete.
You know, this is part of information seeking and doing the due diligence process and determining how we can lessen tax impact for voters, and that work needs to be done now.
I guess I would add that in a perfect world, yes, this would all sequence out in a really nice order, and we wouldn't be expending money until we knew for certain different things, and that is not our situation. And so I think this is the best way forward for us to have the most information we need if we do end up going to referendum.
If the two prior quantitative pieces of input that we got from taxpayers would have been positive, I wouldn't disagree with that, but the referendum and the survey that was done in 2024 did not resonate with that level of support. So, I mean, although you feel like we need to do this now, I think this is something that clearly could wait until the building assessment is complete. And I think that's what's prudent. But again, I understand there's a lot of pressure to move forward, but I think the fiscally prudent thing to do is to begin this and spend this money after we determine that this building is actually going to have the structural integrity and the requirements for the proposed library.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody abstain? Motion carries. All right, one other item then tonight.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Non-debatable, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.